The grimoire lay open on the cold stone beneath the dark sky, its pages shifting as if stirred by something unseen. Pale smoke rose from its center, blooming like a breath in the chill air, then thinning into the night. Runes glimmered across the parchment in uneven pulses, their light waxing and fading like a faltering heartbeat. The summoning circle etched into the ground around it was incomplete, one line fractured, another smeared with blood. Corin Vale stood just beyond the circle's edge. A body lay nearby, sprawled on its side. One arm stretched toward the grimoire, fingers rigid, reaching even in death. The man's eyes were open, fixed on the book with terrible intensity, as if the moment refused to release him. Corin exhaled slowly. He warned him more than once. He offered him every chance to walk away from this, but the summoning had begun in the chaos of the fight. Corin had acted then because he saw no other path forward. He ended the man's life to stop what was coming. He knelt beside him now, not for forgiveness or for justification, but because a life ended. He pressed 2 fingers against the man's neck. Seconds ticked by. Nothing. No pulse. The warmth was already leaving his body. He lowered his hand, careful not to disturb the collector further. He didn't hate him. He couldn't. But the man crossed a line, summoning a creature he held captive in his grimoire, a life forced into servitude. He hated what he had done. No life should be discarded lightly. "I don't agree with how you lived," he whispered to himself, eyes lowering, "but I didn't want this." He stood and turned back to the grimoire, its pages stirred subtly, still carrying the faint scent of ash and blood. Collectors favored grimoires like this, books crafted to imprison living creatures, trapping them in ink and sigil and bound to the collector's will. Corin despised this practice. The Veylkin were not tools, they were not weapons, they were living beings. Slowly, Corin moved to the open grimoire. He didn't touch the book, and he didn't turn the page. Instead, he uttered a stabilizing phrase, quiet and calm. Not a command or a binding, but enough to quiet the presence within, easing it back into stillness. The runes flickered, the smoke thinned, then the light died entirely. Corin sensed something was wrong. That should have worked, he muttered under his breath. He bent toward the book, looking closer. The containment sigil was there. The binding runes remained, but the image was gone. Where the creature's likeness should have been, etched in ink, there was nothing. A chill slid down Corin's spine. His gaze quickly raced over the runes, reading them fervently, his eyes following their interlocking structure. A name revealed itself within the binding script, woven so tightly it could only be seen once you knew how to look. Ash Stalker. Fear flared sharp and immediate in his chest. The summoning was completed, and the Veylkin answered the call. Corin rose, grasping the grimoire in his hands, every muscle taut, his body like a drawn bow. The Veylkin was free, and it was near. When bound, the Veylkin followed the will of their collector. When a summoning was interrupted, especially by the violent death of the collector, the creature emerged, changed. The binding lingered after the collector's death, half-formed and poisoned, warping the creature into something savage. While still trapped in a grimoire, a Veylkin could be quieted, its binding unwound with careful words and spells. Once it crossed into the world, all that changed. No calming phrases worked, no magic could bend it. It only obeyed its collector. Claws scraped on the ground behind him. Corin did not turn. He reached for the padded satchel at his side, carefully sliding the grimoire inside. Its weight pressed briefly against him, a reminder of what he now carried. He fastened the reinforced clasp, securing it, every movement slow, deliberate. The smell of ash clung to the air, growing stronger as the creature grew bolder, stalking its prey. "You didn't deserve this," Corin said quietly to the creature circling unseen. Corin caught a glimpse of movement, elongated limbs unfolding in darkness. Smoke drifted around its body, warping its outline and making its true shape difficult to read. Where its eye should have been, embers smoldered, watching. Corin's hand slowly slid to the hilt of his blade. Everything in him rebelled against what he knew would happen next. The Veylkin were not monsters, but this one had been broken. The Ash Stalker moved without hesitation or warning, slamming into him, one claw striking his chest while the other tore across his side. The wounds burned, shallow but savage. Pain flared. Corin stumbled backward, boots scraping against the uneven ground. The creature pressed the advantage, its elongated limbs roiling like smoke over bone, each movement fluid and unpredictable. He raised his blade instinctively, barely intercepting a downward strike aimed at his head. The impact sent shockwaves down his arm, numbing his fingers. Pain surged again, stealing his breath and blurring his vision. Reflex drove his next motion, an awkward, twisting swing, blind and desperate. The steel struck something solid. A shrill, tearing sound split through the night. The ash stalker recoiled, a shallow wound along its flank, bleeding darkness where the steel had struck. It stumbled back a step, more surprised than harmed. Corin froze, chest heaving, realizing he had landed a blow, not through strength, but by pure instinct and luck. His side burned, blood dripping, warm and sticky. The creature's eyes flared brighter, rage sharpened by pain. It circled him again. Every sense screamed that this fight could not be won. Not with strength, not with steel, not without betraying who he was. Corin gritted his teeth and shifted his stance, raising the blade with slow, measured movements. Every heartbeat pounded like a drum in the dark. The ash stalker lunged once more. Shadows and ash erupted in a violent blur. Corin barely twisted out of the way, the suddenness of the attack knocking him off balance. Stone cracked under the impact, sending fragments skittering through the clearing. Corin struggled to steady himself. The ash stalker remained poised, the pain from its wound already buried beneath its rage. The night seemed heavier around them, filled with the echoes of battle from the distant conflict, clangs of steel, muffled shouts. But Corin tuned them out. Here, now, it was just him, the ash stalker, and the consequences of choices made moments ago. Pain, exhaustion, and fear wound together inside him. He knew the truth. If he did nothing, this creature would kill him. Every instinct screamed at him to fight, to strike, to survive. But another voice rose, unyielding and firm, born of everything he believed in. This creature had never chosen its fate. That choice had been stolen by the man he had just killed. Corin's chest ached. His side burned. His arm throbbed. His breath came in ragged gasps. And yet, he knew what he had to do. "I wish it didn't have to end this way," he said through ragged breaths. The creature's head tilted slightly. Ash drifted from its shoulders as it moved closer. It was reading him, measuring intent, fear, resolve. Corin knew there was no winning this fight. The ash stalker lowered itself, muscles rippling, shadow and ash flowing over bone. Corin shifted his stance, breath steady despite the hammering of his heart. "I won't bind you," he said, voice firm. "I won't cage you." With a sudden, deadly burst, the ash stalker shot forward. Ash and shadow exploded in a blur of motion. Time seemed to stretch. Each heartbeat thundered in his ears. Corin made his choice. He closed his eyes and let go. His blade slipped from his fingers and struck the ground with a sharp, ringing clang that echoed through the night. He stood still, unarmed, focused despite the terror clawing at his throat. The ash stalker's roar drew closer, and darkness rushed to meet him.